some of the stuff that's top of mind that we're working on that's near to the people of High Prairie, I believe. But the biggest one is we've had 2 ministers tour the area in the last 5 weeks. Well, more than that, but particularly these 2 are both to do with flood mitigation and possibly even fire prevention. But the big one was the flood mitigation. We did helicopter tours with Minister Lowen in forestry and Minister Sigurdsson from agriculture and irrigation together. And that really highlighted some of the worst areas in and around your guys' community. And then more recently, we had Minister Wilson, Minister Schultz in the area, and Minister Schultz and I both went up again in the helicopter. This is more of a regional approach, but we looked at some of the other areas all the way through east back towards Lake Lakes, like Crispile, Jussard. I know that's not directly related to High Prairie, but we're all adversely affected by these floods that run water systems through our town. So it's a 2-part challenge and solution that we're working on right now. One of them is I believe we're going to get a decent amount of grant money from the one minister for scheduled preventative flood mitigation. That will most likely run through the county, but I'm trying to see if I can get more money and see if we can run an application through our ANSA committee so that every single community in and around our lake could apply for funding as well. The second one is the bigger challenge, and that involves Rebecca Schultz. She's the Minister of Environment and Protected Areas, and that is every single time there's a flood. So that time when Jasper burned, and we had a couple of evacuations, and Chippewa Lake near Wabasca, and everyone has that kind of heightened sensitivity in our area. Everyone prayed for rain, and we had 5 days of rain, and then a lot of the areas were almost flooding. So always telling people the only thing we were missing is locusts for that week and a half there because it's fires and then floods. But anyway, when the rivers and creeks flood in and around our areas and our towns, I don't know this to be exactly how it goes, but as far as I understand, you have to apply for like an emergency permit to be able to remove any logs from Minister Schultz's department in environment and protected areas. And from what I heard, it's taking anywhere from 2 to 3 weeks to be able to get the permit back just to be able to remove the logs. By that time, usually the damage is done or the water's heated. So the whole idea with the permit is we collectively between not just the one county, but all the communities that I've spoken with, and I'm hoping that your guys' community and council would be on board with this, is we've asked Minister Schultz if her department would give like a pilot project for 5 years so that we have like an ongoing annual permit already, as long as it falls within certain parameters that will be cleared by our department, then people can go do preventative log jam removals. And I'll email you some pictures, Brian, just so you can see, and you can show the rest of your council. I should have done that before the meeting, but I'll send those pictures and then you guys can have a look at what we're talking about. In some of the areas, it looks like they're completely damaged. The one picture of the East Prairie River that we've seen from the helicopter tour, it almost looked like a mill laying down logs. So it's pretty clear to see that this is a long permit too, and that's something that's I'm hoping for this pilot project we can go in and it can be handled by the local communities on a subcontracting level as well. So that's in my opinion, I don't know if you guys would agree in High Prairie, but the best people to take care of our areas like this are the people that are trying to protect their own lands and homes. So we're also hoping that within the permitting that any funding that comes will be managed by the communities and not subcontracted out by the province to somebody from Red Deer or down south. No offense to anybody that family from there, but we just noticed a very obvious example. I think one contract that the Reeve Tyler said was like $1.5 million worth of work, and it was, the minister herself said it was embarrassing. second one is the St. Andrews School. I visited and did a tour with the teachers and the school division. The same day I did a helicopter tour with Minister Lowen and Sigurdsson about, I think it would be 2 months now. But I took various pictures, and it's pretty clear to me that that's at the top of their priority list for the school division. And I've actually reached out to most of the school divisions, and they're at the top of the heap. So in terms of which school is getting in this year's budget, the top of the priority is your MLA, the High Prairie St. Andrews School is the one that I'm advocating strongly for a complete new build. And I do have Minister Nicolaides, I'm just going to confirm tomorrow, visiting High Prairie, I believe September 3rd. I just got kind of a yes on that. So if there's any members of the council that want to be a part of that, if we can allot some time, I will we'll try and include you guys either in the tour, if we do a school tour, or we can see if we can have a half an hour with the minister. I just don't know what lots of times the ministers give me 12 to 24 hours notice, and sometimes leadership can send one counselor, sometimes they can send 3 or 4. Sometimes I'm lucky enough to get a whole itinerary, and then I can book an entire meeting with your council. But as long as everybody understands that it's not my schedule, and I'm just grateful that they're stopping in our meetings. If there are any other school type projects or education that your community is looking for, I visited, I can't remember the name of the other school, maybe Pratt, last year when I first got elected, and they had some school lunch program deficiencies that kind of comes out of I don't know if it's the same bucket for funding, but if there's anything like that that's on a smaller scale that has low-hanging fruit that I think we can help with, I just need somebody to let me know what that looks like or send me a proposal, and I'd be happy to try to help with those smaller items. And then, excuse me, I think the helipad with your guys' hospital has been something that was brought up by Councillor Martin or Tasha last year with a meeting as far back, I think it'd be 2023 November, and we had a meeting with Martin Long, who's the Parliamentary Secretary of Rural Health, and I'm sure you guys got the same letter I got, which is basically the same answer they seem to give us on everything. When we don't get something, which is we either don't have the patient panel, they're basically telling us we're not a priority, probably because of our population. I'm trying to find out how we can find some sort of an elevator pitch where we can find a workaround with AHS, because this seems like such an idiotic thing for them to be blocking. That's so easy to get to the finish line that that one really bothers me. The last thing I have in my notes here, you just mentioned a couple things with on our phone call last week, which is the paving request that you got kind of a yes from the province. I think I put it for my time, but then no correspondence since then. So if somebody's able to send me, some sort of an email rundown of what that correspondence looked like from the province before, I'll get us an update and try putting us back to the front of the heat there. Why the project wasn't greenlit. And then if you guys tell me some more options for council meetings, I should have some answers on some of this stuff by the next time. Hopefully I can join in person, which I apologize for. I much prefer that, as I'm sure you guys do. And then the YAC Center, or the YAC, I haven't had a answer that's any different from Minister Turton than you guys have had, which the last time I had a conversation with them about it was they still hadn't completed it. And please excuse me if this seems like old information, but this is the last time I had a conversation with the minister about it, but it was probably right near the end of our spring session at the end of May. And he said that they had not made any concrete decisions on the building because they didn't know the extent of the fire, and there maybe, because of the age of the building, some other asbestos issues or something, but those are his words, not mine. I'm not trying to trigger anybody in the room. If this is something that is important to your community, yeah, I will try and champion it as best I can to protect those jobs and make sure that the kids have a safe place to go. But I don't have any new information to be able to provide for you, but I will, I mentioned to you before, Mayor, that I'll try and see if we can get sooner rather than later, at the very minimum, a Zoom meeting with Mr. Turton and myself and whoever can join from council. That probably will be based on his schedule, so I hope everybody's under, to be a little bit of flexible. It probably won't be on council night necessarily, but, and then we'll see if we can get an update, from them on that. If I can't get a Zoom meeting really quickly, then I'll at least get a briefing note from them on where it's at and an update. But I don't have any more concrete information on the yak than that, and I don't have any other notes here in front of me. But if there's something I'm missing, I'm happy to take questions or comments. If somebody doesn't mind because of the setup of the meeting, just letting me know their name, just so I know who I'm talking to. I'd be happy to take questions or comments. Thank you.
All right, thanks for the update, Scott. A couple of updates I can give you first before we throw it over to council. Number one is we've been updated that we have got a meeting with the minister regarding the youth assessment center at Alberta municipalities set up and confirmed. So we will have a chance to go over that there. We will get you sort of a briefing notes for, we're hoping to get meetings with 4 ministers when we are at Alberta municipalities, and we'll send you those briefing notes, and perhaps you can see if you can help get us meetings with, we're looking with the Minister of Transportation, Economic Corridors, well, we said children, tourism and sport, and health and public safety.
Okay, so if I don't mean to interrupt, Brian, but I think 2 of those 3 are scheduled at some point. They've given me verbal yeses to tour the region even prior to the Alberta meetings. I'm happy to set those meetings up as well. You should still keep them just in case something changes. But Minister Ellis is going to give some sort of an update on our, we have a whole bunch, just like you guys, of issues in and around the riding for public safety and policing specifically. So when that happens, I will let your tell the date that is. I've been trying my best to get them to do a melt run where, depending on if they're going up through to Peace River, Mill Creek, or over towards Grand Prairie. It all depends on their schedule. So I think I've been able to get all except for a couple to tour both Slave Lake and High Prairie, and I'll continue to try doing that. The premier, just so you guys know, is in Slave Lake on Friday. She already committed to coming back again in January, February. I've already told my constituency association, as well as anybody in her office, that we'll need probably a collective group effort to organize something like this. Like, we'll get the premier on the next visit for one of these, whether it be a fundraising or simply a town hall, which is actually what she prefers. And we don't even have to make it a big fundraiser. It could just be people show up at the arena and can just answer questions, the 2 of us for a couple hours. So as soon as I have more concrete dates on that, I'll let you know. And Minister Drew, so back in September, the first 2 weeks of October. So he came to Whitecourt and Slave Lake the last time about 3 months ago, but he was in Slave Lake for about 45 minutes. And I don't even think anyone other than one councillor was able to make that, but we were trying to get an update on Highway 88, which is near and dear to everybody on that side of the riding. And but when he does come back, we'll make sure that, comes through the west side of the riding, and I'll let you guys know what that day looks like. So what's ministers, counters, and smart also said yes verbally to a tour, but I don't have a concrete date yet. And Minister LaGrange is supposed to do the second half of her refocusing events, and I'm not sure if anybody in the room attended the first one in High Prairie. Slave Lake I attended, and it went pretty positive. I'm very curious, like many residents are, on what actual changes have happened at HS, because the level of service we're getting right now is unacceptable. Can't deliver babies. People are traveling for dialysis, cancer treatment, all these things. I know you guys have a state-of-the-art hospital there, so we need to figure out a way of increasing the services for the people on the healthcare front. So I'm very, very curious to hear what an update looks like for Adriana on that front. And when she tours or when she comes back for the refocusing, if she does one in Slave Lake and High Prairie, I think they did one in Wabasca as well, but she never came in person for the one in Slave Lake. I'm not sure. I don't think she came to High Prairie, but I challenged her to come in person. So that will help with you could still keep your meeting with her at the munis there, but it would mean a lot if she came in person, I think, to be able to show her and tell her some of the simple anecdotal stories that are affecting people in the area. Something as silly as, the ambulance gets held up to the airport for the helicopter, and if there's a train in town, something that could be done right at the hospital takes an unacceptable amount of time. Or things that are easier to show them in person, just like Minister Schultz and the log jams and the helicopter tour. In my short experiences in LA, it's been very effective in terms of being able to get them to tie together what we're asking for and for them to be able to see it. So not being able to get as many ministers to visit our riding has been my priority. And I think before we hit session, this doesn't count any one community, but 17 ministers will have toured the Lesser Slave Lake area, so Slave Lake, High Prairie, or Wabasca, before the end of October, which has taken a great deal of lobbying and time on my part, but they have a large amount of power to help us, and they have the ability to write checks and approve grants, so they can single-handedly make a huge difference on projects and stuff for our community. So I've spent a lot of my energy trying to make that happen. I didn't mean to cut you off. I just wanted to let you know that please email me the questions that you have for the ministers for your meeting and which ones you have. And if you're able to do that for me as early as possible, I'm told the two counties, Slave Lake and all First Nations, that the earlier I get that info, the better chance I have of getting you as many meetings as possible. And I'll commit to hopefully doing the same amount that we have. If you talk to Big Lakes County, the RMAs they had, I think I was able to get 9 in 3 days, 9 minister meetings. I'm not sure how many ministers are attending the Alberta meetings, but if you make that list big and long, we can always work backwards and you can highlight the priorities of the ones you want to make sure you meet with. But I'll try and get you 15 if you put 15 in front of me.
All right, thanks for that. And yeah, no, we don't want 15. We're just looking for those ones that I identified earlier, and we will get you the briefing notes. And if they are going to be in the region before, we would prefer to meet outside of Alberta Munis, because the meetings, as you know, in Alberta Munis are they're very rushed. You're moved in, you got your 10 minutes, you're moved out, and there's the ministers get inundated with requests there. So you're never sure if you're getting remembered when you're at Alberta Muni. So if we can do it ahead of time or at another time, that would work best. So with that, I'll just open it up to see if council has any questions or comments for you. Now, you won't be able to hear them, but I'll give their name and repeat it, or they can come over here and give they can come over to the camera if they like. Okay.
Scott, your sometimes driver. Hey, when you were elected and you chose to have your constituency office in Slave Lake, you said you were gonna have open houses here in High Prairie. I know you had one. I don't know, have there been any more? What's the plan with that?
We had a tentative one for the first 2 weeks of September. I tried to squeeze one in August. Just didn't work with the library. I'm trying to find a bipartisan place where we neighborhoods for half of the meetings last time, but I want to make sure that people feel comfortable going anywhere. So, but we should have one in a couple weeks in High Prairie. I have the posters and stuff made up already. It'll just be coffee with Dan LA, and people can ask me questions on just about anything. And it'll be the same kind of format. If it's a group setting like your council, I'll provide up to an hour. Just a smaller group, like a nonprofit, half an hour. And if it's something as simple as just a 15-minute, we can fit all those in too. But when I do come, it'll be for 10 hours. I was going to try to combine it with the minister meetings, but I found that that just won't work because the minister group just, I'm kind of following them around and then trying my best to get as much time as we can with as many groups. So the one thing I will do a better job of, James, is including your group a little bit preemptively with the ministers coming to town. What the idea that you guys understand that it's not my schedule, it's theirs, and lots of times, even the event in Slave Lake with the premier, we got a tentative yes about 4 months ago that he was coming, and then we never got a date and a time and an itinerary till 10 days prior to the event. So it was really a struggle for us on the ground to be able to, I think we got 140 people there. We were looking for 150, so we're so happy with that. But in order to properly host some of the pictures, out of the 9 that have visited, I think 5 visited High Prairie area already, and 7 or 6 have visited Slave Lake. So there's been a few, I know because I'm from Slave Lake, I always feel that way, but there's like Minister Lowen has not been to Slave Lake for the tour, Minister Sigurdsson didn't go to Slave Lake, and one other one. So I am trying my best to get them to come to both communities. I was just telling Ann Stewart, Wabasca hasn't seen a minister for a very long time. So because of their geography, they get the short end of the stick if these R2 communities are on their milk runs for wherever they're headed. But that was a very long answer, but for sure. In the next couple of weeks, you should see my advertising for it. I'd be happy to send your council an email on the day as well.
Do you have a venue picked?
I'm going to try to use the library, but if it doesn't work this time, I'll reach out to you guys and anybody who has chatting, maybe the Legion, as kind of a bipartisan neutral area. In terms of my constituency office in Slave Lake, last summer, I don't know if James, you met Chad because he helped coordinate the parade the first year, and I lost him to the oil patch. We simply can't afford to pay the same amount in the constituency. I'm not in my own office in Slave Lake very often. I put it downtown because my predecessor was MIA in people's minds a little too much, and I wanted to alleviate that by having this sign downtown. But after doing it, this 21 thing I've learned is I overpaid for the space because I don't need that much, and I also probably spend 95% of my time driving and going to where people are. For the first time, I used the office to host ministers a week and a half ago, and that's after almost a year and 4 months doing this. The people that are just opting in, when Chad was tracking it over the course of it being open Monday to Friday, 9 to 5 the first 8 months, was 2 a week in Slave Lake, and that's not accounting for people that are repeat drop-bys. So I take Facebook messages 24/7, emails, and phone calls, and but the one thing I had a real gap in trying to find, we're almost to the point where I'm pretty happy with our staff again, but for 6 months from about February-ish till July, we were transitioning away from Chad to some new employees person, but, we're starting to get there, and hopefully we can make sure that when people reach out, that we're getting back to them. So.
Alright, thanks, Scott.
And I'm sorry for missing the parade. I ran it. I had an awful week that week. I totaled my wife's new vehicle, and then I totaled it on the highways. My F-150 broke down, so I missed the parade the one day, and the next day I missed the Elk Rodeo thing that day, and is still mad at me over. Hopefully I can come to this fall fair. I'm gonna try to go to something in Cannon Creek and Victor County at a barbecue this Friday, Saturday. So, hopefully I can come back in the fall for something. If somebody has any events in High Prairie that wants to attend, or a hockey game with the High Prairie team, I'd be happy to help or come say hello. We just had a hockey thing in Slate Lake, so that's easy. It doesn't feel like work for me because I'm a big hockey guy. But
Alright, we'll figure something out. Thanks, Scott. Get up. Oh, it's a long way down. Oh.
Scott, just, like if you're having problems with the venue for your meetings, the town does have the Performing Arts Center at the arena that will hold quite a few people. It might be a good venue for you that you could, consider. It's one option.
I'll probably take you up on that then. I appreciate that. Thank you, Mayor.
All right, anybody else with questions, comments? I don't see anything more, so, we'll let you get back on the road. Thank you very much for taking the time to meet with us today, and we will get you those, briefing notes. And, we can go from there, and hopefully we'll get a chance to meet maybe in person before, Alberta municipalities, but if not, at Alberta municipalities.
Okay, sounds good. And Brian, since you're on that committee, calling in lots of times, especially when I'm in session, I'm always willing to do it if it's in the evening time, because we end up around 6. So if it's around this time when we sit, I can always call in. I'll try to attend a couple in person, but going forward, I'll try and consistent. If you can send me the Zoom links, if you guys don't mind putting me on the agenda once a month, maybe, or twice a month, I'll just provide a 15 to 20 minute update on kind of the stuff that I've been working on that's top of mind. I attended the RCMP Town Hall in Slate Lake last week, excuse me, that was at Town Council, part of their meetings. So if you guys have anything like that from the RCMP or doing an update, I'd be happy to come and join if I can make the schedule work. And if not, online is always another option for me. And I'm up late too if counselors want to have a chat. I always tell people once I put my girls to bed, it's from like 9 until 11. I know that sounds silly, but like that's when I get on my full time. So happy if somebody sends me a message on Facebook for want to have a sidebar chat, they can reach out to me directly and unless you're willing to have me text back and forth like I did to Brian before we were able to pause.
Okay, thank you very much for that, and yes, we will take you up on some offers on having you at some more of our council meetings and go from there. Oh, I see one little finger went up.
You can let him know the second weekend in September if he wants to stop in for the relay races.
Oh,
yeah.
September 8th, the second weekend in September, it's the native relay races are going on that Sucker Creek is hosting. So that might be an event that you'd like to attend.
I think I might have that on my email. I'm gonna turn off my video real quick. And can you just bear with me 30 seconds here, then I'll just, if it's not my calendar,
Sure.
I'll plug it in right now.
Yeah, you were just wondering about upcoming events. That's one that Councillor Dunn just brought up.
I
Awesome
appreciate
drone
that.
show.
So that's Sunday, September 8th.
I think
It's
it's
Saturday
Saturday
and
and
Sunday.
Sunday.
Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah.
Saturday, Sunday, okay. I will come to one of those days. If Councillor Dunn has a poster, I'm not entirely sure if I have the information. I'm sure I could get it from Chief of Council, but if she doesn't mind sharing a poster, or if it's on your guys' Facebook page or something, then I'll be able to find out when I can come. Sunday the 8th doesn't look like a great day, but,
It's the ninth.
Saturday, I think I can definitely come by for a few hours.
Tom will post it on his Facebook page.
Okay, Counselor Waco said he's gonna post it on your Facebook page. He's got the link there.
Awesome, thank you, that sounds good.
All right, well, safe travels and thanks for joining us tonight.
Okay, I appreciate the time, have a good day.
You too, bye now.
Ryan, you're advocating, who's the minister? Which ministry you have a meeting with the minister? Is that Attorney General?
No, the one that we have,
Children's Services and the
Children's
Minister,
Services.
and the Minister of Public Safety.
Okay. Yeah, thank you, yeah.
all right, so moving on in our agenda, we are now moving on to, item 13, the CAO's report and action list. Get a motion on this? Counselor Dunn?
The council received CEO Bill McKinnon's report and action list for information.
All right, so with that, I'll turn it over to our CAO.
Just let everyone know that the auditor should be presenting at the next council meeting the financial statements for the prior year. There's all kinds of stuff happening the first 2 weeks of September in terms of network upgrades. As I mentioned before, when we talk about network upgrades, the easy part is the stuff that WDM is doing. That is providing new hardware, new software, and the like. But there's a significant number of rewiring that has to be done because our wiring at all our facilities are inadequate to optimize our network. So we have to upgrade the wiring in town hall. Basically, every town facility needs wiring upgrades. So that's all scheduled to happen the first 2 weeks of September. Just for people's information also, I don't think I put it in the report, but the annual pool shutdown will happen the last 2 weeks of September. We're still working on the dates. So that's sort of important because that's when the contractor doing the fire system upgrades will likely be replacing our system there. So there's been a lot of confusing and misinformation about this fire system upgrade. The fire system at the Aquatic Center is 100% operational. The alarms will go off. The issue is, and there's no risk to public safety. Staff, we've cleared some concerned resident or individual, contacted the provincial fire officer's office. They've consulted with the fire chief and me, and we all are on the same page. There is no public health safety risk related to that facility. There are 2 pull stations that are unoperable. Those 2 pull stations are not in the public domain. They're in secure staff access locations only. We have trained the staff on the protocols that they need to take in case there is a fire, but there is no risk to health and safety of our staff or members of the public. So that's about it. Please answer any questions.
Counselor Danaka?
How did the water forum go?
I think it went very well with the higher users. I imagine the 2 counselors that were in attendance will hopefully provide some comments. It wasn't overwhelming crowd, but there were some major users, the hotels, West Prairie, the county, and other users were there. The general thrust was they fully support the strategy as outlined. They're just asking, and we assured them that advanced communication would be done if needed water storage currently, the reservoir is currently topped up and will continue to be topped up. But they were pleased with the measures and thought the measures were reasonable. There was one consideration given to the county co-ops, and I believe it was in terms of a level 4 strategy where we would cut the county off. Administration will be reporting back on an amendment to that. So that would be less severe if we were to go to stage 4. But again, there'll be a follow-up report coming back to council from that discussion. The group was pleased, and we are communicating additional tips out to them, water reduction strategy tips, and they would like to see that continue on for with or without potential water restrictions. So whatever conservation mechanisms, grants that were available, that may be available to the business communities to do retrofits, and the like. So that was it. But I don't know if the other two councilors wish to comment at this time, or wait till the report.
No, we can add it sort of address it right now in that, sorry, yeah, thanks. The other thing that I think came out of that meeting for me was that there was discussions of moving maybe level 1 and 2 up earlier and have them for a longer time frame, because some concern that we could go from level 1 to level 5 in, a matter of a week or 2 weeks, so which would be severe. So if we started level 1 a little bit earlier and made everybody aware, it might delay level 2 and level 3, or maybe not even get there if we started that a bit earlier. And I can't remember the number of feet, but it's, if you remember that chart that they had laid out, it was that this feet, this happens, the next feet. So they're just one after another, but maybe moving it up so that it was 2 or 3 feet earlier that that level of restrictions kicked in, especially 1 and 2, so that it might delay getting to level 3, 4, and 5. And level 1 was only restricting, lawn watering and stuff, and moving it to, even or odd number days. So it really wasn't a major inconvenience for anybody. So just moving that up, and then people start to become aware earlier, right? It's that marketing campaign that we have an issue with water, let's start conserving, here's what you need to do, and if it gets worse, we're gonna progress down, but let's all chip in and help and go from there.
So, excuse me, so the forum that's coming up September the 9th, has that been advertised? I saw it on, no, that wasn't. Has that been advertised, like on our website, in the paper, on the Facebook page, just to remind people about it?
Looking over it, and yes, it will be advertised by.
Okay, all right. I had one more question, but I can't remember it. If it comes back to me, I'll.
Maybe I could just supplement the mayor's comments before councilor decision they want to add. Again, everyone was okay, particularly the county thought it was excellent. The general message was, don't wait to phase 1 or phase 2. Start the preemptive media campaigns, just like Calgary did. Well, they did it after the water main break happened, but the sooner you get the word out, the further it's going to, the need to implement stage 1 and stage 2 may be mitigated by reductions of usage in water by the users in the system. So the only other comment that I forgot to mention was the general consensus was the fine should be increased significantly for offenses under the bylaw. And I also recommended that we put in a progressive scale based on first repeat, second repeat, third repeats. But industry, at least, and the current high users were saying the fine that were in that draft proposal council considered were way too light. And were not severe enough to have an impact.
All right, there and there.
Sorry, John, you stole my question. My question is logistical more, as to where it was advertised, and did you guys change the location at some point? It was at 1 o'clock, but I didn't see anyone.
There was no advertisement, they were direct email direct email invites to all water users. Any change in location was communicated in those emails.
Was it communicated to council?
I can't recall that, but I believe it was communicated to council. Well, so the councillors that did attend obviously knew where the meeting was and the change of venue, so.
I didn't see it, but I'll check.
I don't think we did have a change of venue either. It's
Well,
from,
we did, because council's direction was to have it at the beginning,
Okay.
but we did change that to have it in the council chamber, and that was communicated in the correspondence to all of the relevant high water users. And if my memory serves me right, council was copied on that invitation too, but I could stand corrected.
Yeah, I don't know, I know I emailed in to find out and was told.
Yeah, but I don't see it, but I'll check.
Well, for sure, council was aware the meeting was on that date.
At
Yeah.
1 o'clock. Yeah, I know it was at 1.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, because that was mine. I showed up at the Gordon Buchanan Center at 1 and the doors were all locked. There was no posters on the door. Or I did not know it was the venue had changed. I sat out there for 15 minutes.
Did you phone the town?
No.
Did you have anything?
Thank you, that's.
Okay. Assistant House.
Well, that was it. I was just wondering because I was at the Gordon Buchanan Center on Wednesday at 1 and there was nothing going on there. I wanted to attend this.
Councilor Waco?
Any luck with Esso? Our friends and neighbors across the street?
They will be attending a future, likely dialing into a future council meeting with whatever information they wish to share with the council.
Don't like that.
Anything else? Just,
Well, I didn't really have too much, you talked about the water, the high water users, yeah. I didn't really have too much to add, really. It was a good meeting, it was really good to see our businesses there, that was excellent. You know, from the hotel, from people from the hotels to, Tim Hortons to West Fraser. So it was a really good mix of businesses, which was really great to see. What I took away from it was they were happy with the strategy that was presented, and happy with, you know, we discussed that it was, somebody brought it up already, about the strategy of before stage 1 and stage 2, that communication beforehand, and just that with the Calgary water line there, it was really communicated a lot from the start, so that was a takeaway there. Yeah, I think everything else is mentioned there, but really good communication, really good to, like I say, a one-on-one. It was good form. It was being in here, it wasn't so big, so it was easy to communicate and everybody shared their thoughts and comments. But like I say, overall, they were very happy with the strategy.
okay, I had a couple of questions. One is regarding the ongoing list and specifically which number is this? This is 14422 specific to the proponent of doing, or coming up with a new policy around putting towers in High Prairie. And it says that MMSA had committed to providing a draft by June 1st. And it says ongoing, I'm just, June 1st is come and gone, so I'm just wondering where
That's
that's
correct.
at.
So that they didn't meet, and they've been notified that they haven't met that date, and numerous other dates they've committed to.
So we don't have a new date that they're gonna have it to us by?
No, as you can see, it's been outstanding for a significant period of time.
So just to segue on that, based on your reaction to that and your comment, are we having issues with MMSA now? In terms of what they're offering and what they can deliver to us?
I can provide a review of that in camera that involves contractual relationships with the vendors, so I don't have to deal with it in a public forum.
And I just, any word on how that new development is coming, the new co-op, car lot?
It's coming, they've done site prep, and they haven't apprised us of actual construction, but I know they have requested information through the contact from Ministry of Transportation and the like. To date, they have indicated that they will not be putting in water or sewer on the site because they believe they do not have a need for it. So that gives you an idea of what type of car lot they're contemplating and how it would operate. So it doesn't appear there to be any personnel on site at that car lot, but that stands to be corrected. They may be doing alternative mechanisms that don't require attachment to our water or sewer. So there are self-contained units that they could potentially drop into that site, so it's a wait and see.
Okay, thanks for the update.
So is that the one going by Topo? The co-op?
It would be
Car lot,
right
yeah.
adjacent to the county's work sites. So
Oh.
it's across the street, kitty corner to Abbott.
Oh, okay, okay, all right, yep. And I remembered my last question. Can you expand, or is that an in-camera issue with the notification about the land auction in the council chambers on September 20-something or other?
No, that's purely public, so, there might have been a post today on Facebook, is that what you're referring to? So again, that's the tax sale,
Okay,
so that's what that is,
all right,
the tax sale process.
okay.
Okay, we had a motion to receive the report for information. All in favor? Carried. Notice of upcoming meetings. Well, we know we've got the public users meeting. And that, I guess I brought up I'd just like to maybe under this is saying, should we add something into that about getting feedback on, you know, whose responsibility it is to cut the back alleys? Or should we do that as an online poll question? It was sort of one of my questions for council to see which is the best way to get some input, or should we do both, or should we not? You know, I have some reservations of having two topics at the public meeting and going from there. But so, I know we'd like to sort of address the one issue quicker, but I'm trying to get some ideas of how we can do it. So, Councillor Wakel.
I think you have to keep these meetings, especially when the plan was to have it as a water meeting specifically, and that's a big topic. You know, and this back alley issue, that could also end up being a big topic. You don't want to swamp one with the other. I would suggest keeping the water meeting a water meeting. I like the idea of an online poll, find out what it would be to cost and say, are you willing to have the town pay this much to do all of the back alleys, or do you, the people of High Prairie, want to do the back alleys? Somebody else should probably write the question instead of me.
Okay, other thoughts on combining or keep them separate? Councilor Stenhouse?
So my thought would be to combine them. The agenda or the posting would say from 7 till 9 would be well, from 7 till 8 would be water, and from 8 till 9 or whatever you want to set the times as, would be for the back alleys. This way it would give them, that date would be set aside by the residents and they could show up at the time if they wanted to discuss it. And it would be actually separating them for 2 meetings. If you clearly define that from this time, this is what we're talking about, and then the next hour we'll be talking about that.
How long did the water forum with the youth go? Like, was it an hour, was it like 2 hours?
It was close to 2 hours, and then there was numerous individuals that stayed to have one-on-one discussions. Like through the chair, it also indicated in terms of the bylaw, potential amendments related to laneways. The majority of our peace officers are on vacation or vacationing, or at least Louis is not back till September 4th. That leaves very little time for administration to pull together materials. What I would suggest to council is, this is a resident and they have some very valid points. It may be appropriate to ask ratepayers at a meeting prior to them coming, what are your 5 top priorities you would like council to address, rather than feeding them one and then 2 weeks later having to deal with other items that you've asked to be dealt with in the budget survey. So there's pros and cons, but there are other items that residents have concerns about that may not be vigorously addressed through the emails to councils. So I can provide you input of what administration has received as priorities, and council should be aware of that before they deal with one-off issues, or at least deal with the issues of concerns in totality. So a process to drive what the issues are, whether it's through another open house, as some councillors have been advocating for, but I'm just suggesting a more holistic approach be taken to what the priorities are that council wishes derived from the residents, or a process to evaluate the concerns the majority of the residents that would participate. So if you ask 5 different questions, such as what are your top 5 priorities that you wish to address, and have residents bring them to that meeting, laneways may not be even in the top 5 priorities. So I'm just throwing that out. But the administration has very limited time to prepare the necessary materials, especially financial implications of maintaining or not maintaining back laneways.
Personally, I think we should just stick with the one, and then as time permits, like I'm thinking, because when are we starting budget? September, October-ish?
More likely November-ish.
November? And then try and coordinate a town hall, open house, like mid-October, for the, the top 5 priorities. This is what we're looking at, what are your priorities, and then kind of take that into the the budget deliberations. So my preference is to just keep it for the water.
Okay, any other thoughts? We've had some for combining, maybe not understanding the time that it took to get through it. It is a bit of a challenge, it'd make it a longer evening, but, any other thoughts on it? Councilor Shishin?
Yeah, I think we need to keep it separated, so, you know, we wanna deal with this, is that water is an important issue, and I think we need to just keep it as a, and work with that, because then otherwise it kind of starts getting sidetracked, and it is very important, that, you know, that we get that feedback, so.
Okay, and we can, and I'm hearing administration saying it's difficult putting the cost factor on maintaining the alleys before, so I'm okay with leaving that for a week and doing it in a couple of weeks, putting it up even as a poll question, I think would be good. Gets people thinking about it, maybe using that part of the website again. Get some feedback on it and see what they think, because you give them the information and they can give you some feedback. And then it could be a good follow-up and show it again when we do the budget, saying, you know what, this is something that we heard, especially if they want to add it. We've added it in because this is what we heard from people, that they want the town to do it. But if they want the rest, you know, we hear that the residents would do it, say we didn't put it in because the homeowners are supposed to do it, or the residents are. Any other upcoming meetings in the next 2 weeks? Okay. Going on to our reports.
Brian, do you not want to discuss the letter about the Patriots County request?
Oh, geez, I went right over that. I'm sorry.
'Cause that's
Yeah,
where I want
thanks,
to-
very good, yes.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
So the two letters.
Going to item 15, the council correspondence, the one, letter from the High Prairie School Division. Thanks for catching me on that. You wanna make a motion on this one?
I'll make a motion on the first letter from the school that we received information.
Okay. And
Because it's already something that we're doing.
yeah, we're already working on, but we may want to respond to them and let them know that we do have a meeting and that we're following up. Okay.
Then I will make a motion to have administration advise them that we have taken steps to meet with them.
Okay. So we're having a motion to, you know, advise High Prairie School Division that we are
Yes.
taking this issue forward and are meeting with the minister to lobby to keep it open.
That is correct.
Take this with us to.
I'm not sure, but I think this letter should be included in the briefing notes, just in case, to make sure that he gets it. Because he may not have seen it, but just to make sure that if it's not in the briefing notes, that it's taken to the meeting. And same with this one, if you're meeting with the Minister of Health.
Yeah, but I mean, they CC'd it to all the ministers.
Yeah, but I think I think it needs to be included in the briefing notes, just to make sure that they actually have it. Because then he's gonna sit there while he's talking to you and he's gonna read this, because he probably hasn't read this yet, because he's got 1,500 other letters that have come in, so he's covering all the bases.
If we take it to Red Deer, then it gets it past all the gatekeepers.
Okay, anything else on this one? All in favor? Carried. Second letter from Big Lakes County. Got a motion on this one?
I make a motion that we receive this letter for information and and to direct administration to respond stating, do we have a meeting with the health minister at Alberta Munis?
Just bear with me for a sec, I can't remember if that was one of the ministers.
No, it wasn't on the list there.
So, no, the meeting hasn't been requested, but could I suggest that council again provide a letter of support to
Yes.
the county?
So I changed my motion, I make the motion that directs administration to send a letter of support to Big Lakes County regarding their concerns in relation to the Highbury Hospital.
Okay, I don't know, do we have any specific concerns, like they've identified, one of the things that they say in the letter is that, do you have any input? They were gonna write a letter and that they're hoping that we would sign it or endorse it also. And they identified the helipad, cancer treatment and obstetrics on there. Is there anything else that we would like to add to that list or anything?
Dialysis, is that still an issue?
It's going, dialysis
Oh,
is,
dialysis is going here?
absolutely,
Okay, didn't know that.
couple of years, yeah.
Sorry, oh man, obstetrics, is that having a baby?
Yeah.
Okay, lack of anesthesiologist.
Okay, use of the operating room?
Yeah. We haven't had one here in 20 years.
You need a surgeon to have an anesthesiologist.
Well, then get one of those too.
Yeah, Vancouver, Calgary, Edmonton.
And we did mention that once.
We do have an anesthesiologist, or we did, I don't know if he's still there, at the hospital. But of course, he's not getting to practice his craft. I don't know if he's still valid, because you've got to, be using it to stay valid. And the issue I'm told about obstetrics and stuff is they don't have nurses that can run in the OR, and then they don't have doctors, so they always have one of those three missing, right? And so they always get one of the three. And that's one of the issues that we have. They might get the anesthesiologist, but then they don't have a doctor, and they don't have this, and if you have obstetrics and maternity, then you have to have an operating room that's functioning, because you may have to do C-section and something quick. But, so I think opening up that operating room might be a separate thing, because you could even do other things even without obstetrics. Like you could do an operation on, Westlock does a lot of the stuff with knees and hips and that kind of thing.
Or even a colonoscopy, or an endoscope. Well, I'm serious, they knock you out for that.
Yeah.
Or what does it do when you go the other way, endoscope?
But they could
But yeah,
come here and do it. They would hear on the news that there's a shortage of operating rooms. So I think that's the other thing we could add to their list. And then that we would support and put our name on that list when it was done, right? Is there anything else we want to add to the list?
I just wanted to make a mention. We brought, not that we should keep pursuing that, we need to keep pursuing this, but we have brought these up at previous EUMAs. So, we have to keep doing it, absolutely. There's no two ways about it. And keep pursuing that, because I know, like I say, when we met, I believe Councillor Martins was there, and I can't remember who else was there. We push these, and we've spoken on these, so, I think this is excellent, and we still have to keep pursuing this, it's a must, absolutely. I just wanted to make a comment on that.
And I think if I remember correctly, the one time that we met with Minister of Health or something or whatever. We had discussed this whole operating room issue and saying, you know, like, we have this operating, like, bring these guys and they can do these operations here. And I can't remember who it was, thought that was a really good idea. And then nothing has transpired since then in regard to that.
Probably because there's been 300 health ministers since then. They went through a whole bunch in a real short period of time there. 300 is an exaggeration. I think there was 3 or 4 in a hurry.
The Premier has identified this as something that would help, and so I think they're aware of it, and if we can keep it on their radar.
Yeah, that's the key. I mean, it's getting through, but we have to keep that.
She identified that as a solution, or part of the solution. Okay, so the motion then is that we would support what they've got. We want to add the use of the operating room, and that we would sign or co-sign the letter when it was created. And we'll continue to lobby for that ongoing. All in favor? Carried.
Stretch your legs, John.
So I just added the only addition to the request was adding the operating room.
Yeah. Okay.
Very good. Thank you.
Yeah.
Good night.
Have a good evening.
See you tomorrow, Bill. The county office, the county council. Will do.
See you, Richard.
All right, moving on to our reports, and start with Councillor Daneka.
No report.
Councillor Dunn.
Just that I connected with, the college. If anybody else wants to take that on, I will be trying to make those meetings. Last year, I can make a couple, just because of work, but, it's difficult when they're Monday morning first thing. So, I understand that for everybody else as well. So that and, just had a brief meeting at our company, we're gonna be doing Santa's, or Santa's helper soon, getting that going and stuff like that, as CRC. So,
Maybe you should like,
what's that?
their mic.
Oh,
Just
I'm
so
standing.
I know, but Donna needs to hear.
So I'm gonna move to receive my, verbal report for information. Basically, I just said, we're gonna be starting Santa's Little Helper soon. Did you hear that?
Really?
Yeah. Gotta start in September because it's a lot of planning to get ready for December.
Okay, anything for Councillor Dunn? All in favor? Carried. Councillor Martins? Myself, attended the water forum, which we've talked about already. And since I wasn't at the last meeting, I did attend the ANCA meeting. But I know, they've been here since, so you sort of got an update on what's going on with them. With the one other thing I just wanted to let council know is we've asked for support from that bigger group regarding the Youth Assessment Center, regarding the helipad. All of these health issues were on that list also. So it did go there. And we also wanted support for the dog handler position coming here, and all of the communities that were there were supportive at that time. So hopefully we can get a letter, or we even suggested maybe seeing if we can get a meeting and have all of them come and attend on some of these issues where they need to come in here and get one of them up here and lobby for it together. So with that, I'll move my report for information. Any questions? All in favor? Carried. Counselor Stenhouse,
No report.
Counselor Wakel,
No report, everything's kicking off in September, it looks like.
Counselor Shishin.
Already mentioned the water forum, but I do want to mention the Alberta Air Tours is August 31st, with the county and Town of High Prairie hosting. It should be really, it's out there, I see it on the town Facebook page. It's a barbecue, so it's flying and barbecue, with Alberta Air Tours there. I think the idea or the schedule was they're gonna be out to the west, so they'll be in the Edson area, they'll be flying into High Prairie, it's from 11 to 2 p.m. is the event. So there should be quite a few aircraft, there's supposed to be up to 25, 30, maybe even 35, which is quite interesting because you get, it's just amazing, you get so many different aircraft for anybody that's interested in that. Coming out, I never realized there were so many. I thought, okay, you see a small plane flying by, and you go, oh yeah, it's a small plane. But when you actually see them landing them on the ground, it's a different story because some are quite unique. And the people are just awesome. They're just great to talk with and, you know, have a hamburger or a coffee with or whatever there. So, again, it's from 11 to 2. Everybody's welcome. It's out there in the public. And I don't know if I'm going to be there. I don't know if anybody else is planning on from the town being there or council.
That'll work.
It's the thing we talked about. Yeah, possibly helping.
I think I have Brian down as well, and Therese. From the last meeting, you said you would be willing to.
John said he was gonna be there too.
No.
There should be, I mean, there's gonna be people, we're setting up at 9, so there's gonna be people there. It doesn't, I was there the last time and there'll be more people expected, but, you know, once the tables are set up and things are on the go there, so we should be fine there, so. And that's, I move my information report. Unless any questions.
Just to add some supplementary information we got from the county today regarding that event. They've also requested 4 staff to facilitate
I know, that's what I was referring to, yeah.
at the event. So we're searching for staff, but I think we'll be able to find 4.
We have 4.
Yeah, so long weekend and all that stuff. So of course, employees will be paid. They're not volunteering their time, so they'll be paid accordingly to the work requirements.
Okay, moving your report. Any questions? All in favor? Good, we'll take a break and then move into closed session.